That was a fucking magic trick.
What? I don't know what happened.
I'm laughing. I'm laughing because watching Hi-Fi get ready to take the controls, I flashed on like airplane, you know. All of a sudden, a non-pilot was flying the plane. But here we are, and it's really great. And I apologized for having so little faith. But our friends just needed to see it.
I'm just gonna be transparent. Heidi snuck in while the fucking intro was going.
While the intro was going.
No, I was fugazi'd. I was sitting in the freaking waiting room going, yo, I'm in.
For like 2 seconds, and then I let you in while I was starting the live stream, but okay.
Well, welcome everybody to Rad Pod and Chill. We love our friends. We love our viewers. We love all the brilliant people out there who care about democracy. We are one man down again. Sean Connor is still getting out of boxes in his move, which is quite the production. And he's also very, very busy with his real work, which is as a litigation consultant with a very, very busy firm doing lots of cool stuff. So we miss him, but we know he'll be back soon. And I just want to say hello. I'm going to begin the painting of the nails ritual. And I called this particular live stream, This Is Not Normal, because nothing that we are going through right now is normal. And I really look forward to an incredible conversation with you guys about these not normal days and times in which we live. We even heard the January 6th committee at the 7th hearing say, we have no framework for this. Watergate was like a, Boy Scout meeting compared to what we're going through. So we're going to be dropping some knowledge and hearing from our friends. And I'm going to begin painting my nails. And Jim, what say you? Huh?
I think you said Cub Scout. I think you said.
Oh, he did. He did say Cub Scout.
Yeah. Also, I totally approve, by the way, of the. Just let's go ahead and do the painting of the nails during the show. We might as well, because it's either.
I could use a manicure, actually.
It's either a massive anxiety attack leading up to the show, or me and Sean are like, God, party. So this is great. Let's just fucking be out with it. I love it.
I'm so glad that you approved.
I think it's a great addition to the broadcast.
They're going to be so super fly. It's the same color I've worn the last 3 episodes, and it is so gorgeous, a pale lavender blue called Skate with Destiny. And speaking about Skate with Destiny, did anybody happen to see the Descendants t-shirt being worn by the former Oath Keeper in the 7th hearing? SoCal Punk representing somebody who
I don't know if you want the white supremacists representing anything.
Listen, dude, the guy said he snapped out of his fugue state when he heard somebody talking about how the Holocaust wasn't real, and so we can't say you can't come back. You can't come back because you were once a white supremacist. He appears to be trying to atone. My opinion.
I'm with you, and I'm glad he's there. I'm glad he did, said what he said. But, the guy was the fucking spokesperson for one of the most dangerous organizations on planet Earth for a long time.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Again, I am all in favor of rational forgiveness, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not actually, a super fan of the extreme forgiveness movement because I think we should forgive people as they prove themselves to be forgivable.
I guess
And
that I am the fool who rushes in because I love everyone and because I was so grateful to hear him say, hey, let's not mince words. This was going to be an armed revolution. And that was very important, I think,
I agree.
to hear that.
It was great.
And
It was great.
also, he said this. He goes, I hate to tell you, but the Oath Keepers are a violent militia group.
Right. Well, I mean,
Thank
the
you,
thing
dude.
is, like, when you flip, you gotta flip all the way. They don't let you do it
Yeah,
halfway, right? That's
yeah,
the thing. Dude is
yeah.
cooperating. Like, let's be clear here. Dude is
Right.
cooperating. He had to do that. I'm not
Yeah,
saying he isn't telling the truth. I'm not saying
yeah.
that he didn't change his opinion of things, but I'm
Right.
also saying that dude cooperated because to save his own ass and good. And I'm glad he did, and he did the right
Well,
thing.
he
I'm
he
not
said
gonna have like a party, you
right.
know, for um,
For those who didn't watch hearing number 7, we are referring to Jason Tatenhoff, who is the former spokesperson for the Oath Keepers. Oh my God. And he was wearing a Descendants t-shirt, and I do really love the Descendants. But my point is that um, hearing people who were under some sort of what we call undue influence actually atone and talk bluntly. And Stephen Ayers was an incredible example. The second gentleman who was heard on that day, he came voluntarily. I know Hi-Fi has stuff to say about him because of his patois, his Ohio patois.
That
But
is the
he
most Northeast Ohio motherfucker ever. That's all I'm going to say.
I really,
I appreciated that guy. That guy seemed like he was, like he genuinely figured it out, and he was
yeah,
there.
yeah,
There's no excuse for any of that. But
yeah,
dude seems to have
yeah,
genuinely, you know, I mean, it fucked up his life, and he's pissed off about it, which is the best way
yeah.
to turn somebody around, right?
Not
But
nearly
he's
as pissed off as his wife was. Did you see her sitting behind him? She was hot. She was not
well,
happy with him.
all I want to say a couple of things. One, that when Jason Tatenhoff, the former Oath Keeper, said to his wife, "I don't know how we're going to support the family. I don't know what we're gonna do, but I'm not doing this anymore." Um, I've been in that situation where I've had to make decisions like that, where I had to just say what I'm doing is not safe, is not good. It's soul sucking, and I get out. And so for me, that was really legit. And the other thing that was really important, there were so many important things that Stephen Ayers said, but one thing that really touched my heart and also just put me on a whole, there's a lot of things I want to talk to you guys about in this hour, but one thing that Stephen said that I thought was really important was that he went to the Capitol directed by his president, who had been cheated out of the presidency. And while he was there, he waited for the big reveal. And everybody who knows anything about reality TV knows that the big reveal is a shtick to keep people watching and to keep your ratings going. And Jim, just as you knew a couple of years ago, having been a pioneer in ARG, well, I knew, having been a news producer within the Fox system, that at the December 18th war room and all throughout this presidency, we've known this, but it really was very stark. He's been using reality TV techniques continually, changing the pot line, seeing what rates in the 18 to 49 demos and doing all of that. But clearly the insurrection was a reality TV production. So
Well, it was a psychological operation that used all kinds of
yeah,
techniques, including
yes,
reality television, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
he is a shameless carnival barker.
yeah,
He has been for a long time. He's fucking
yeah,
good at it. He can sell
yeah,
anything, especially when he's desperate because he's got the Russian mafia over his fucking.
yeah,
But,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I, I,
Hey,
I don't know. I don't think reality TV show quite covers the maliciousness of it.
No.
It's a obviously a malignant psychological weapon that was deployed into America. That radicalized enough people that we almost had a whole bunch of dead politicians.
That's
So
absolutely correct. And I am just noting the various techniques,
yeah,
noting the
that's one
fact
of them.
that many of these techniques, which we are both, all of us really are experts in one form or another, were being utilized to create what was anticipated, and Trump's core circle knew it as American carnage, which were the words that uh, Mr. Benny used yesterday. And yes, hi-fi. Can I get out of the big box? I don't need to be in the big
You don't
box.
want to be in the big box?
Absolutely
Here,
not.
let's do the 3-box.
Let's do the 3
Jim,
shot.
Perfect.
Jim,
Great.
Jim,
Great job,
Jim.
man.
Center up, Jim.
Thanks, fucking high-fi. I like being casual over in the corner.
Hey,
man.
you're the fucking talent. I'm the producer.
Oh,
Center up, man.
that's
Oh, is that
terrifying.
right?
Hit your
Sean,
fucking mark, bro.
you better get out of those boxes, Sean, fast. Oh my gosh, so much to talk about.
Yeah, I
Ooh,
mean,
I got
Okay.
something I needed to talk about.
Okay,
I gotta talk about
go,
this.
go.
Right. Secret Service deleted text messages after they were requested. Ooh, buddy.
Yeah,
Ooh,
right.
buddy.
Right, right. Is that
yeah,
such a good side
that's
high five? Such
that
a
is
good
a
side.
serious ass problem.
Yeah.
And look,
And
the sorry, but the Secret Service is infiltrated. Obviously, that's
why
the
didn't
only.
Pence get in the car with the Secret Service agents?
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
because he knew they were gonna fucking take him away on orders of Trump, who's still the boss man.
Wow. That's
I
terrifying.
mean, it's bananas. God knows where he would have gone.
Yes. What about
If he would have shown up alive again?
So the Secret Service, at least under Trump, were obviously compromised at some level because they were. There's no fucking way that would have happened if there wasn't some level of coordination with Secret Service and Capitol Police. Fucking possible.
Okay. So let's talk about the premeditated tweet. Let's talk about how tweet drafts can now actually be utilized to show premeditation, because I found that to be incredibly fascinating. But that brings me to a bigger point, so hold that thought. I want you guys to tell me, what is Twitter? I want to discuss what Twitter is, because I don't know anymore what Twitter is. I don't think that it's necessarily
It's the same thing
working
as
for the
Facebook.
people.
It's fuck no. It's a psychological operation run by right-wing billionaires to mind fuck people.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean,
that's a textbook answer right there. I like it.
Thinly veiled as social media and breaking news. Whatever.
I mean, it's not far off. It's certainly been used for that, and I think one of the things that was most fascinating about the hearings was the January 6th committee nuked Twitter, like nuked them. Like, I mean, what's amazing is that hasn't gotten more attention on Twitter.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
well, wait a minute. That sort of felt kind of existential.
I'm just saying, they had like multiple long quotes from this Twitter executive who was like, "People are gonna die, right? You understand that the dying is gonna happen because you are not dealing with this fucking right wing extremist cult that's gonna attack the Capitol." Like, it was that stark, and the guy was like, they just wouldn't do anything, and he was like, I have to go to bed tonight with the knowledge I tried.
Yeah.
And what did we engage in?
Like having to be that person in that fucking situation.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt that way, and I was just some rando on rando using Twitter. I wasn't at Twitter. If I was at Twitter, I would have been losing my fucking mind, right? And
Wow.
they did absolutely nothing. And one more thing I'll say.
Yeah.
On January 8th, the pressure became so great, and it became, and the Republicans started, flopping and flipping. They flipped off QAnon and the entire thing overnight. Not even overnight, like on a dime. And
Yeah.
the way they did that is because they knew exactly what it was. They knew
They were
exactly who the people
complicit in
were.
that
They had
shit.
the entire fucking network absolutely cordoned off and making them money and psyoping the shit out of Americans into fascist ideology. And they fucking knew it. And they let it go for forever. They've known it since the beginning, since 2016 at least.
Don't forget the trolling and the artificial inflation and artificial amplification of shit like Jason Sullivan's fucking botnet bullshit.
They let all that. They look. Ron Watkins went from 15,000 or something like that on election day to 500,000 followers in 3 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ron Watkins, the dumbest, shittiest, like beheaded fuckwit on planet Earth. Nobody in their right mind listens to that guy and thinks, okay, this is, they were all pointed at him algorithmically. The cult required it. You've got to listen to this guy because he's going to tell you the big lie.
Did you see the clip that they?
Which clip?
So, am I the only one having trouble hearing Jim? Is it me who's having a
it's
bad
you.
audio?
It's
Do
not
I need
me.
to dump out and come back?
Yeah, try that.
Okay, I'm going to dump out and come back because I got stuff. I got stuff I want to say.
Okay. Yeah, Jim Watkins. Fuck that guy.
I mean, whatever, Jim Watkins, man. Like, that's just these fucking assholes out there still trying to push that. Like,
he's a smoke screen. How do they not see that?
Of course he is. He's a monster. He's a sociopathic piece of shit who bought the worst website in the world from the worst person in the world, and for the worst reason in the world.
Right, and actually, Jane Doe, you're not incorrect. Watkins looks like that. There's a reason he looks like that. One of his idols is a literal Satanist, and Jim Watkins actually had child sexual abuse material websites on his hosting company.
I mean, not just had them, like was one of the main owners of CP related domain names.
Yeah.
For fucking years. Like the worst lowly shit you can possibly imagine. Those domains are all hosted on his shit. And he's not just a fan of a Satanist. He is a Satanist. So I know people try to make a big controversy out of that, but it ain't a controversy. He is. He names himself Watkins Xerxes. Xerxes is Anton LaVey's son. He wears his eyebrows like Anton LaVey. I mean,
who was the satanic panic guy who wrote the Mind
War? He LARPs as a Christian, and it's not cool.
Oh yeah, he's got some weird like process church vibe thing going on,
Oh, 100%. He's all up in that shit.
Why can't I think of the guy's name? Stone's kid interviewed him. Temple of
Aquino
or whatever. Michael Aquino. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do a thing about him soon because he keeps popping back up. I mean, his mind war thing is what Flynn and these asshats have been doing. Paul Vallely, who's Aquino's partner in writing, the original Mind War plan.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Vallely, is a QAnon amplifier who, who communicates with Flynn.
Well, it's like it's Peter Thiel, utilizing the network effect. All these
Well, that's
unhappy ex-Intel people, and I'm sure there's some people inside Intel too.
Yeah,
I mean, one thing we know about Jim Watkins is he was emailing, what was her name, Patricia something, down at Redstone.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I like all that shit seemed like kind of a distraction. Jim Watkins is just a like pornographer. And I mean, he, don't get me wrong, he knows everything. He knows that absolutely everything. But they intentionally moved it over to 8chan with their cooperation. Like that all happened in November of 2017. All this nonsense about how it's impossible to figure out.
That's bullshit.
There's nothing.
Okay, Heidi's back. Let's see if we got Heidi back.
I don't know.
Heidi went black.
Oh, Heidi.
Heidi, what's going on?
I'm back. Yeah, I just hear Jim's audio pingy, but I can piece it together. Sorry about that, gentlemen. So just as I asked you, what is Twitter? Because I was thinking to myself how Trump was using it like NBC, like, you know, here's going to be the date, and then there's going to be the big reveal, you know, and the cult, which we talk about, the cult of Trump, which Dr. Stephen Hassan has taught us a lot about, you know, followed, and we know the story from there. But just as I asked, what is Twitter? I want to know, what is Sidney Powell?
Oh, that's easy.
The worst Dr. Pepper product placement ever.
Okay, but seriously, what is she?
Okay,
what is she?
So hi-fi, you're part of the problem, and I'm gonna give you.
I know. Sorry.
I'm gonna give you shit right now because Sidney Powell is the fucking Dr. Pepper thing. Like, I swear to God, she did that exactly what she said 13848 on purpose, because that was right when she was, you know, she was saying the quiet part. She was talking about 13848 and how Trump was too dumb to actually know what the details were. But the whole goddamn thing was about that. I mean, Steve Bannon, and Gal, who just showed me.
Could Ron Watkins have been the pipe bomber? No, I don't think so.
Nah, no. Ron Watkins would have like fallen on his face and
Ron doesn't move like that.
Pipe bomb like ticking underneath his head. Like, he's just so clueless and dumb.
Well, so I ask because, you know, of course, the history with her is there is one point when Mike Flynn had pleaded guilty to the FBI for lying during the Trump-Russia investigation.
I skipped over the Sidney Powell part. Yeah, Sidney Powell was like Mike Flynn's lawyer. Like her claim to fame before Mike Flynn was that she was the Enron guy's lawyer. Literally, she defended them.
Is she a holy roller, or what's her deal? An opportunist?
Yeah, she's like, you know, but not like, as far as I could tell, super crazy, but got like mind fucked somewhere right around when QAnon started into QAnon. She isn't like. She was in QAnon when she went on like Hannity every fucking day to defend Mike Flynn in 2019. I mean, people forget, like, she was being taken very seriously, at least by the Fox News crowd, right?
Yeah.
And you know, she, as much as you might want to mock her, she got Flynn off a signed like cooperation agreement, not only with Bill Barr's cooperation, of course, right?
Yeah,
but
well,
she managed to fucking bulldoze Mike Flynn out of a guilty confession. Like, that's not
until he was pardoned.
And then when he was pardoned, yes.
Yeah.
And then when he was pardoned, what did he do? He said, my lawyer should be special counsel to oversee tribunals for Democrats and whatever the fuck they had planned, right?
Right. I mean,
and so the whole thing about Dr. Pepper and all of that, like, she may have been in charge of having people killed. If you guys think that that's not possible, you're not paying attention. They were very, very close to both Plan A, which thank God, some of the intelligence agencies pushed back and they didn't get their report. But Plan B too.
Thank you. I ask because she almost was named special counsel, if it wasn't for, a White House lawyer or three who Bigfoot it. So
if Cipollone and Hirschman, didn't have the self-preservation instinct remaining to say fucking no and sit the fuck down, Mike Flynn. By the way,
right. There. Yeah. So
and that's all it was, self-preservation. Nobody give these guys a medal for fucking anything. Sorry, no. It's
I know.
only because they knew they were going to prison.
You also saw Pat Cipollone sucking up to Mike Pence in the middle of that. He took his opportunity. One of my favorite lines was the concept to simply declare that the election was corrupt and just make the declaration, just like they do and have done for many decades in the Kremlin. But I also want to ask you guys, I think that democracy, Americans have gotten pretty far away from realizing just how critical the ballot box is. And when Benny kept saying, we settle our differences at the ballot box, my feeling is that all the noise and all the distractions and everything that we've kind of gone through in the last 6 years or maybe longer, there's been an erosion of people realizing how important and critical and sacred the value of the vote is.
Yeah, I mean, the value of the vote has been diminished, right? Intentionally.
Yeah.
Sorry, but you live in California, your vote means a lot less than it does if you live in fucking North Carolina or North Dakota, for example, right? Because of our ancient ass electoral system, and now the aggressive fascistic movements that they are making to take over our local government, our election processes. I don't think anyone realizes how many brain-fucked cult members are going to be counting votes, and doing God knows what with those votes during this upcoming election.
Oh, it's going to be a scene, man.
Show.
Yeah.
My team has been pushing people into those positions and scaring the normies out. Right?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be that person at the fucking school board who's getting yelled at by some crazy ass cult member. Right? Nobody wants to be that person. So they're letting those positions go to people who are motivated, who happen to be, in a death cult and stuff.
I would also like to talk about what Liz Cheney opened with, which was the pre-buttal. She was basically saying they're going to try to infantilize this man, the 76-year-old petulant, lifelong, well, let's call him a criminal. I will. So they're going to try to turn him into an infant who was, I do. That's my training. I'm an allegedly and by their own admission girl.
Heidi, they're pulling the same shit with Flynn. No, hold on. They're pulling the same shit with Mike Flynn with this.
Yes, that's what I was getting at.
Bullshit.
You want me to go off?
No.
You want me to go off?
That's what I was getting at. That's what I was getting at.
I will. You will need to give me a couple minutes.
No, but what I do want. Okay, so just so we're clear, Liz was basically saying they're going to try to say that he was just easily misled, by his really crazy friends, So we know that is inaccurate. But what I would like to talk about is, Jim, you probably more than anybody, I'm certain more than anybody I know, has been following Flynn and his networks and his associates, as well as Stone. Yeah. So you know the company they keep. In the seventh hearing, when you saw Flynn and Stone, who I'm looking at as kind of like a weird Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, sort of their own, like, it's like a creepy subplot in all of this. When you saw the pictures they were showing, what did it tell you that the folks on the committee are aware of?
Well, so I watched it back, and I did a video about it too. I mean, Jamie Raskin said it, right? She's like, he's like, Mike Flynn is connected to the Oath Keepers. Here's some pictures of him with Oath Keepers, right? In the same paragraph as him saying that the Oath Keepers are guilty of seditious conspiracy. So there is no stronger inference you can make about whether somebody is guilty of seditious conspiracy
pretty great.
Than saying directly you are associated with this seditious conspiracist in the same project. So it seems pretty clear what is going on there. I mean, he showed them in front of the fucking Capitol. Yeah. That was not by accident. So the messaging was there, right? As I said on my Substack, like they showed the dots, right? And they did was connect them all to Trump, which is great, which is a good thing. And the reason for that is because he's still the cult leader for a lot of them, and like really taking him off the board is very important overall to their mental health and all of the rest of ours. But they haven't yet, and I don't know how much they will draw the actual connections to Flynn and Stone. And I think there's two possible reasons for that, and then I will shut up. And they both have to do, and Gal and I talked about this on my pod, there are two potential investigations, in my view, going on right now with Flynn and Stone. One is a literal grand jury investigation, right? Like, it's not out of the possibility at all, given where this committee has already gone, given who they already charged, that, you know, those things are not underway. So it could be there's a grand jury already and they're just trying to, you know, tread carefully. And, just a little bit hopium, but not that much. I mean, I think, and then the other one, which is a little bit, more speculative, is counterintelligence investigation, right? They have stayed entirely away from any foreign influence on this entire thing, right? Like, not a single
that's kind of interesting
about anything. And I think that that's because they're staying in their lane and investigating the domestic bad actors. But I think it's basically impossible for this investigation overall to go down without them looking pretty seriously into the foreign influence.
Ooh. Do you guys remember when I caught Ali Alexander talking about his friends at Twitter safety on Clubhouse? I got to find that video. Do you guys remember that?
I'm not sure if I remember that one, but I mean, fucking Vijaya and Jack were on Joe Rogan with Tim Pool in 2019.
Yeah.
Like yucking it up about like talking about free speech as if Tim Pool, who, by the way, the fucking January 6th committee just showed inciting the insurrection on a show. They were chilling with that motherfucker on Joe Rogan, who has been spreading all the disinformation he possibly can about COVID, about everything. Like, that dude just went straight off the deep end into fascism. And those guys are just chilling with Tim Pool, talking about free speech. So any pretense that Twitter Inc. had any like good intentions along the way, fuck off. No, they didn't.
Right.
It wasn't even necessarily
Right.
about money for Jack. It was much more
Can
about.
we also can we also mention that Yuri Milner put a lot of money into Twitter? We all
Yeah,
remember
we
who
should.
Yuri Milner is. He's one of the bagmen for Putin.
Another
It's
oligarch.
fucking Russian money, man.
Yeah.
It's all like Silicon Valley is built on Russian money. Just is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Like how
So
did Facebook happen, right? Peter Thiel gave a $500,000 check, and
yeah.
then fucking Milner and what's his face show up with $2 billion a couple years later at a $20 billion valuation, making Peter Thiel a
Everybody's
billionaire
friends.
again.
Everybody's friends. Hi-Fi, I just sent you a photo in the chat. I don't know if you or Jim can bring it up, but to
I'll get
me,
it. Just give me a second.
I wrote, this is always how the story was going to end. To me, what image defines all of this? Well, there's a couple, but the image that defines, I think, what's happening right now is literally Jeff Clark in his underwear, looking very,
I mean, that's
pensive.
the most
It's
hopeful. I keep saying, like, that's the most hopeful thing I've seen in a long time, and the reason is because it means Merrick Garland is treating these people like the mafia.
Yeah. And here's the thing. The reason that image I think is so important is, to me, the reason I wrote this is always how the story is going to end is because this has always been a mob story. And that is a mob photo. No matter how you slice it, that's what that image is. And I find it interesting that rather than that really kind of taking up the news cycle and images like that, and I'm old enough as a reporter to know that that's the kind of old school reporter mindset where that would have been the image that stories were written about. Instead, we have a WWF narrative, brewing between Trump and Elon, so we can all look over there. And I couldn't help but also, as I was thinking in terms of reality TV, watching the hearing, I couldn't help but think in terms of WWF when I heard Alex Jones doing his announcer voice as part of the hearing. This is all very stagey showmanship. I know it's bad, Jim.
It's a psyop. It's a psychological operation which needs characters. It needs cult leaders. It needs LARPs. That's how they work.
Yeah.
And Elon Musk has turned, by himself, has turned into a fucking psyop all by himself, a giant one, a monster one.
Yeah.
He's very, very dangerous. Like, he has been putting out, just straight up third position, red brown propaganda. Just really bad shit, misogynistic. Is now doing this LARP about how, like, our biggest problem is lack of population.
Yeah.
The reason for that is so dark, it's hard to believe. The reason that he does that he's doing this shit, is because he wants overpopulation. He wants us to burn up the resources on Earth so that he can go to fucking Mars, so that he can force people to go. I don't know what that is. So he can force people to go to Mars. Really?
Yeah. No, I listened to what you said, and I listened, and I recommend everybody listen to Jim's video narrative story today that he did. Yeah.
The only problem with this guy is that he doesn't actually have handcuffs on. It would be better.
I think because it gives the illusion that he does, that is why the picture looks the way it does, and just the look on his face, like he made his Faustian deal, whatever that was, and that is what's happening. And again, when Ruth Ben-Ghiat, who really knows a lot about fascism and corruption, when she says that Trump is a criminal tied to global mobsters, I always, caution people to not really focus so much on the clown show and realize the seriousness of it. And when Benny Thompson was talking about American Carnage yesterday, all I could think of was that I fear that we haven't seen the worst of it. And maybe I say that because I want to prepare myself for what's to come over the next few months. I don't think it's going to be, I don't think that these global mobsters who have plotted, as Hi-Fi always says, the global business coup, I don't think they're going to go, lightly into that dark night. I think they are going to fight for their, desire to kill liberal democracies.
They're not only going to fight, they are winning. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they are fucking winning. Like, let's not fuck around here. They have the Supreme Court. They have the GOP, the entire party.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of people on the left, like pushing the narrative in the wrong direction. They have a bunch of people in fucking journalism.
Yeah.
They're winning. And the way that we fight back, yes, vote, 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 and all that shit. But the way we get people to do that is to fight back in the information war that is in front of us.
Yes, Jim. Preach, brother. You see his collar? I'm like, Brother Jim. Preach, Brother Jim. Preach, brother.
It's just a 25-year-old T-shirt from my
No, I really love it when I hear you say that, because again, what I am seeing in the political realm on the local level is mirroring what we've been studying for years on the national level, and that politics has always been a mean-spirited game. But unfortunately, with the addition of social media, the cruelty and the viciousness is always cranked up beyond 11. And again, the operations aren't organic. It's not like one group of people says, oh, I don't like this policy over here, I'm more aligned with this policy over here. No, it's like, you have the courage to run. We are going to assassinate your character. We're going to assassinate the characters of everybody around you. And that is what's happening locally. So people locally now get Hillaried. Misogyny is continually.
It's because now it's been normalized and it's okay to do that. And guess how that happened? On social media.
Roger Stone too.
Oh, yes, but social media allowed it to happen in ways that could not be done in a physical space. And the reason for that is because these fucking companies like Twitter Inc., who needs a cleaning fucking out, allowed it to happen.
So I'm going to ask this again, and Hi-Fi, I want you to give me your succinct answer. I'm going to ask you this again, and I'm going to include Facebook. What is Twitter and what is Facebook?
They're a big fucking psyop gun built by the Russians, pointed directly at our heads. I mean, what's there to not understand?
Thank you. Certainly weaponized. I mean,
let's be clear. I've used Facebook for lots of good things. I've had lots of great conversations on Facebook, right? But somewhere around 2016, like that more or less stopped. Like it started just to become, just was awful just to be there at all.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem to have changed, but people seem to get used to it somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, I still have an account to monitor things, but I can't stand it. I post something and it's just.
So I have a thought. I have a thought. You remember how this is your brain on drugs, and friends don't let friends drive drunk, and go ahead, you take the keys away or whatever. I know that Facebook malinformation, disinformation, and misinformation is shared more extensively by an older demographic than a younger. Not to say that they're not trying to lure in younger voters. I think that's what Instagram is probably for. But so I think that we all have to take our parents' Facebook away. I think that we can't just sit around and go, oh, mom is now just going to be on Facebook getting radicalized, and dad.
Not just Facebook,
I know.
TikTok,
Fox.
Twitter, Fox
Fox.
News needs turned off. OAN, Newsmax, fucking Newsweek needs to go away. Newsweek is a conduit for bullshit constantly. Telegram. 4chan, 8kun. Although I heard 8kun's trash right now.
8kun is in many ways like its own fucking psyop at this point. Like it doesn't actually matter that much, except to radicalize people, like they're trying to do now by pointing them at it. No one, no normie can actually go there and understand what the fuck is going on at all. Like I don't know. If anyone's actually gone there, it's really hard to figure out what the hell is actually happening, and you don't want to try because it's it's just a bunch of people doing racist, anti-Semitic, like cult shit, and it's bizarre.
Yeah, it's edgelord as hell. That's all you need to know. It's beyond edgelord. It's into hate speech and
it's
awful, evil, terrible.
It's all designed to be transgressive. That's all it is, right? And but the thing is, like something like Telegram. I mean, there's 3 zeros in terms of scale on between Telegram and 8kun, right?
Yeah.
In terms of the actual number of people who go there. There's 1 billion people on Telegram, more than that.
Well,
and half of those people are just using it to get brainwashed. That's it.
I'm concerned, so I know that I'm a little bit obsessed on the Sidney Powell front, and the distracting, animal prints. I know that I'm affected by it, but when she said that no reasonable person would conclude the statements were truly statements of fact, doesn't that translate to, in other words, I'm a propagandist? Like, what?
Of course it does.
Okay. Thank you. I needed to hear that, actually.
She just labeled herself a liar.
Okay. Thank you.
Because she has no other legal argument. There's no other legal argument for what she did. She either knew that it was a lie.
Yeah.
Or she has to make it clear in court that she's mentally ill. Right?
Ah, okay.
Those are the 2 options.
Okay.
Because if she's going to say that this is true still, then, you know what I mean? Like that.
I do.
She backed her dumbass into a corner. And,
right.
Whatever. She's
Thank
going
you.
to jail going with all
I do hope
Marie, she wants to distract and look like a crazy lady to diffuse the fact that she almost became the Grand Inquisitor of the United States.
Yeah. Well, and how, she showed she was very sane when she got her joke in about Pat Cipollone, creating a land, a land.
She's not
record. Yeah.
She is not dumb.
No,
she's
clearly.
An idiot, but she's not dumb.
Bit scary.
She's fucking terrifying. What do you
mean? Yeah. Okay. I'm just glad that I got that clarity from you.
Listen, I mean, the thing about Sidney Powell also that people need to just get that they don't get whenever she's brought up. Mike Flynn's lawyer paid by QAnon.
Yeah.
Literally, the only way that Mike Flynn could afford Sidney Powell was by filling his defense fund with QAnon victims.
Right.
I'm telling you. So there's this whole thing about Mike Flynn being a grifter.
Yeah.
To the extent that
he's a grifter.
To pay for Sidney Powell 100%.
Mentally ill. Yes, just like the big grift with
Trump. That was just a side effect of what the real point was. But he did get millions of dollars for Sidney Powell, and people need to say that when she shows up on your television screen.
Yeah.
That there is a really important relationship between Sidney Powell and Mike Flynn.
Yeah.
That is not being presented.
Right. Hi-Fi's about to bust a
Thanks for coming to my Sid talk.
He's about to bust it. I was going to say bust it.
If you remember, way back in the early dawn of Radicalized Pod, we did the story about how Tomatli is for traitors.
Yeah.
And who was there but Sidney Powell, Mike Flynn, Ellen Wood.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had that. We nailed
it. And
the favorite opposing lawyer.
And the boy toy for the Russian spy, the pillow guy. Wasn't he around? Wasn't he lurking about at that time?
Down, my fascist?
Mine pillow.
No, not the pillow guy.
Patrick Byrne?
Overstock guy. Yeah, I get those.
Patrick Byrne was there.
Mike Flynn had both the billionaires in tow. He was like, look,
we need
billionaires
charts. We need a chart. We need just like the Shakespearean plays. We need to have a character list so I can actually not confuse those two. So because one really was the boyfriend of a Russian spy, and that would kind of explain.
That would be Patrick Byrne and Maria Butina. Butina also infiltrated the NRA.
Yeah.
I mean, Maria Butina infiltrated a lot of people. That poor schlub in wherever it was, like
we need a punk rock song about watch out for red sparrows, bro.
Well, I mean, I still can't believe we let her go after a year. I mean, I mean, how did they really get all the information from her?
Well, she's now doing propaganda out of Russia.
Like screwing all these dudes to get information to send back to the bosses.
Yeah, I agree, Kathy. I did not find her that attractive. I would not be selling out my country for that.
They were pretty easy marks, but no, she's now.
Look, these people like her are very well trained.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not making a sex joke.
I know. And by the way,
she is extremely good at psyops, man. That's what they're good at. That's
right.
What they do.
And let me just clean up our act from last week. We only have one rule on the show, and it's that Hi-Fi stays away from any references to genitalia, silent or otherwise. And so we apologize.
Why are you so worried about other people's genitalia?
What I'm concerned about is the misinterpretation of some of your more ribald jokes.
Can we sing?
Okay.
Oh, okay. Allow me to say for the record, I have nothing but the greatest respect for women and their genitals.
We are just, Okay. So moving on. What I do want to say that is very important, and I wanted to get this in before we ran out of time. Now, you know what? We are the most dangerous show in America.
Oh yeah.
Because no, we're really a smart show that likes to also have some fun.
Did you hear them on TV? They were saying pussies all over the place, right?
Oh yeah, well, Rudy Giuliani.
Rudy Giuliani was like, I'm pretty sure they said pussies.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm pretty sure the word pussies was used. And then they didn't even beep it most of the time. I thought it was funny.
It's a tragedy, and it's quite embarrassing, but there is a little bit of tragicomedy woven into it, and I think that we have to acknowledge that. But our show...
This is Rad Pod and Attempted Chill.
I think we're chilling all right. I mean, our country's
you guys
on fire.
Need to just be really happy I just completely swallowed the line of thought that I wanted to go down concerning Rudy Giuliani and his.
Oh, Hi-Fi! Thank you very much for being very mindful of.
Oh man,
that one was so bad I censored myself.
Sorry, we call it a day. We fucking, Hi-Fi. It was fun.
So I want to say
that is growth right there. That is growth.
Oh, okay. Are we getting?
Now I gotta shut my mouth. Now you
gotta have your nails done before showtime. Then that's what that means. So,
I literally wanted to start.
There's trade-offs across the board here. So says the talent.
I wanted to start the show by saying I just needed another 15 minutes. Gentlemen, this is a very important point, so just get ready for it. Stephen Ayers said, I'm a family man who loves his country, but we got to take the blinders off. And I am grateful that he said that, because he's basically trying to talk to the 30 million people who still have their blinders on and want to believe in the cult of Trump or Flynn or DeSantis or whatever. And I have a concern, and my concern is that the January 6th committee hearings they're so great, and they're so smart, and they're so thorough, and they drop so many bombs in 3 hours, and they're doing a brilliant job. But is it going to penetrate the people who still have their blinders on? That is my question.
Well, I think the strategy that they are employing is the reason, again, why I'm not more grumpy about them getting deeper into Flynn, et cetera, is because I think they are making the correct political decision for themselves. So let's not get too, wishy-washy here. It's the correct political decision for themselves, both for the Democrats and this Cheney and the, one or two semi-sane Republicans left to take Donald Trump off the fucking board. It's also very, very important for the cult. Yeah. Because the entire thing was built on him, right? Yeah. Now, the question is whether they can make him a martyr or not, right? Whether they're going to try and somehow rehabilitate this fat bastard so that, he's been martyred by the deep state or some shit, and they're certainly going to. It's just a matter of how effective that's going to be. And it also obviously matters what happens post, Trump, going to the pokey or whatever. Yeah. Do you feel? I'm just saying that I think it is a good thing that they're focusing on Trump for these purposes.
Right. I want to know if you feel that Ron DeSantis is already outraising him funding wise, and if that is the definitive, answer to who's.
DeSantis is the next mainstream Satan.
For sure, and I mean the Musk. Hold on. The Musk Trump feud is real. Like Musk is behind DeSantis and has been for a long time. Like those two are buddies. That whole just dark ass nihilistic Manhattan Institute idea that you can just mind fuck people into your racism and and that means you win. Right. It's very, very dark shit, and Ron DeSantis is I think both a puppet and legitimately evil himself.
DeSantis is the next mainstream Satan. High five. That is a hell of a quote, brother. Hell of a quote, because that's what it's got to be now, right? We know that they're all trying to out evil each other, to raise money, and that is to what Jim just said. That's a very scary proposition.
Yeah, that dude he's very, very bad.
Hello, FBI and Matt Gaetz investigation. Where the fuck are you? What's going on in Florida, bro?
So Jim,
and by the way, there's a whole strain of this Musk DeSantis thing that goes through Twitter as well. Like all of DeSantis's like bad ops are protected.
Oh, Rebecca.
Yeah.
They like Rebecca Jones got totally politically assassinated with Twitter's 100% cooperation. All because of DeSantis and his popularity with these fucking wingnuts.
Oh my God! I just looked at a headline about Joe Manchin right now, and it's just, yes, Marie, that is quite right. Our friend Jackie Singh did a Freedom of Information Act on her, and it's not good.
I mean, I just have to say this is like go to gal _suburban and search for Poo Shop.
Yeah.
Gal got all the receipts, all of them.
We're already at time, but Jim, one thing we didn't get to that I wanted you to give just a 1 minute summary of, if you can, is that the meme warfare that you showed from Elon Musk's Twitter presence, and this goes back to what the hell is this platform? He's reaching over 100 million people. Some of them aren't fake. Some of them I'm sure are real. And you showed some of the memes, and you said that this is like a 4chan guy. And I just want you to comment on that, because the memes that you showed were so disturbing. And it wasn't like I hadn't seen him or I wasn't aware of it. But when you showed it collectively like that, there's no other way to look at this than somebody who's actually trying to mind fuck Americans and more than likely the world.
No question in my mind about that. And he's a very special kind of megalomaniac kind of psychopath. And I'm not saying this shit lightly. He genuinely is trying to fuck the earth up so that he can force people, especially white people, and I'm dead serious about that.
Yeah, you showed the evidence.
War. And he's gonna leave the losers behind. So I don't know if you've seen, but all of his stuff is now like we need to increase birth. We need to. We're underpopulated with 8 fucking billion people, and the Earth heating up. To centigrade just off the bat.
Right.
And he's saying that what we need are more fucking people.
So let me ask you.
The reason for that is twofold. One is because he's saying that the abortion thing is correct.
Yeah.
He's saying that women should not have control of their bodies because we have an emergency overpopulation crisis, so they should have a fucking choice.
Yeah.
And he's saying, we just need to use up all the shit here on Earth so that, my little colony on Mars becomes super valuable, which is why he says over and over again, we will get to Mars in our lifetime. He's not hiding it. This is really the way that this guy thinks. He thinks
put that motherfucker on a rocket.
To fucking engineer death and destruction on a grand scale for his own purposes. That's really how he thinks.
Well, so earlier you said that we are in an information war and we have to start fighting the information war. Other than turning off the digital poison on these platforms, how else do we fight back, Jim? Make that the final word, besides shooting all these anarcho-capitalists into space.
Yes, I had an image about that, about putting Elon on a fucking rocket ship, tell him it's going to Mars, but actually point it at the sun and just tell him Mars is extra bright today. Don't worry about it.
Is this how we fight back? Is this really?
Well, that's an information war, right? It's
actually let's start a Kickstarter. We're going to do it. We're going to send Elon to the sun.
The information war is that we told him he's going to Mars, but instead he's going to have a nice trip to the center of the solar system.
Okay, so the fundraiser, we're sending Elon to Mars, and then underneath it'll say in parentheses, but really into the sun.
But again, we joke, right?
Yes, we do.
But he's got $250 billion,
yeah,
101 million followers on Twitter.
I know.
He's got half of Twitter. So every time he tweets some fascist third position bullshit, half of Twitter.
Well, but Brent Allpress, though, has given me hope, as he often does, in that many of these guys got too greedy and got a bit dumb And so I don't think that they can continue to torch the world without, at some point, justice galloping after them. So I am going
I mean,
to.
that sounds super hopey of me to be like.
It does.
Show me the
Well,
fucking
hold on.
money, man. I
Truth
like,
always wins. Dictators always
you
don't.
know,
Can I point
like
out
again,
something?
that sounds awesome, but
Yeah,
like
okay.
what I want to see is more assholes in their underwear in front of their house getting their shit taken so that they can get sent to prison.
That's what Hi-Fi promised me this summer was going to be
That is
like.
what I
It was
want.
going to be the summer of guys in their underwear,
Summer
getting
ain't over
raided.
yet.
Yes.
Summer ain't over yet.
We got a long, hot summer ahead of us. In the words of Chris Isaac, the world was on fire, but nobody could save me. But you guys always make my day and my week and my life. So thank you very much.
Back at you. Bye, everybody. Love you guys out there.
Love you more.